Hi guys, welcome to my live. So we were talking in the secret group, and y'all should join the secret group. It's the blue subscribe button on the main page. We were talking about whether I see anything different for younger men and women, of course, in couples counseling, and I do. I see that things have gotten rough. I mean, it's strange to say it, but it's kind of like the pendulum has swung, certainly, this isn't everybody, but for more liberal young couples, the guy seems to be in the role that the woman used to be in, and that wasn't good either. But like where the woman used to get kind of taken advantage of, and she had the second shift and everything. Second shift means when you come home from work, you still have to do, all the childcare, all the housework, etc. And when stay-at-home moms used to be condescended to more, I see that more with the working guys. So in younger couples, I mean, like under maybe 35, maybe even under like late, even up to late 30s. And send likes if you're watching and if this is interesting to you. But so let's say the guy works, right, outside the home. If he works inside the home, he's really fucked because then he has to do everything while he's working. But let's say he's lucky, works outside the home, right? So he goes to work at 8, he comes home, let's say at 6, and that would be a, regular work day. When he comes home, she is like done, even if she was a stay-at-home mom. And this is not everybody. There's just a trend I'm seeing. She is done. It is time for him to do more than half of the housework and childcare remaining. And, she no longer in this age group is expected to do anything physical or sexual. Not that any healthy man ever said, oh, I deserve sex. Like that just is not something that like the average man will say. But it is thought now more than ever before that if she is not spontaneously desirous of him, then she shouldn't do anything. So what we get is that he makes the money, he comes home and does half the stuff, if not more, and I see a lot of times that it is more. Pretty much everything on the weekend because that's her time off. He's never allowed to say there's stress of being a breadwinner. That's like we don't say that anymore. It's really like it's the stay-at-home mom of yesteryear. Stay-at-home mom was supposed to be unilaterally gracious and grateful and appreciative, uniformly rather. And she was supposed to look at only the positives that this man's income is allowing her to stay home. Never mind that staying home feels like, very difficult when you're doing it. And the only person that's given any accolades is him for all of his hard work. That was terrible. But this other way is terrible too. So hopefully the pendulum will swing somewhere in the middle, and send me a like if you are watching this. But what I have seen is that maybe things have to triangulate into something normal, that is where both people are recognized in a dynamic. But at this juncture, it appears that many young men, I'm talking about young men, they're like early 30s, can't expect any sex, can't expect any physical affection. They have to minimize the importance of working outside the home because, God forbid they should say that that's somehow stressful, but she is allowed to say that working inside the house is extremely stressful. And now you're going to ask, what about all the dual income couples? Dual income couples are not in the same situation, right? Because they both work outside the home, they both come home. At that point, they usually split things pretty 50-50, but more and more I'm seeing that the man, and this again is the liberal couples, the man is doing more. He's doing more because she says she's doing higher order, macro level home management and emotional labor. Now, this is a very nebulous category, and if the person is anxious, this can metastasize into God even knows what. So if she's doing online shopping for the kids, which is a dopamine hit every time you get something into that cart, then that's macro level, management of the home. That's emotional labor. If she talks to his mother on the phone, that's no longer something that could be nice for her, but that's emotional labor because he doesn't talk to his mother enough. It can change. It's like very slippery, and this is not intentional. This is just the way that the sociological phenomenon is working. So I feel like, at some point it'll get back to the middle where both people's efforts are recognized. But at this juncture, It used to be that women got shit on, and now it's going a bit toward the other direction. And if anybody has any questions about this, I certainly welcome any sorts of questions, but this is a very interesting phenomenon. And the times that I've explained it and the discussions we've had in the secret group made a lot of men feel quite validated, because it's like the emperor's new clothes, where they're like, wait a second, I don't feel like I'm a bad guy, and I do like a lot of stuff, and we don't even tell people how much stuff I do, because it's a little bit even embarrassing how much stuff I do in a sense, because she's kind of just doing like some other stuff, emotional labor, macro stuff, whatever it is. I'm not supposed to ask about it. Not supposed to say that I'm tired from work ever. But yet if she goes to anything, volunteer, part-time work, anything, that's the day. The day's done because she's tired. And it seems like, the pendulum has swung to the other direction. And so if that could make anybody feel validated, then good. And of course, couples therapy is an excellent place to address any sorts of these issues. So remember, if it was shitty for a woman to be ignored, her contribution in the home, it's also then bad, right? Ethically, logically, for the man's contribution outside the home to be ignored. But it's become a very, very sensitive topic. When it switches, I've seen, is when women start working outside the home. And then they're like, oh shit, like this was pretty hard. Oh, he can't pick up his phone all the time. Oh, he's really actually tired when he gets home. And of course, it's real hard to stay home with small kids. I did that part-time. I never did it full-time. I did it part-time myself, and it was hard, long days. However, it is also hard to be working outside the home, in most situations at least, right? And it's hard to do the financial, that's emotional labor too, managing the finances, dealing with the mortgage, and sometimes people say things like, oh yeah, but you get a mortgage one time. So if he does financial management, then he did a one-time mortgage meeting, maybe twice if he refinanced, maybe 3 times if we have a HELOC. That is not real. That's not what financial management means. It means logging into the accounts every day, figuring, do we have the money for this, for that? What should we do? When should we move this from checking to savings? Are we supposed to be investing this? Where is the market today? What percent am I supposed to be doing for this or that? Where are all of our credit cards? What day are the bills coming out? Are they on auto pay? Can we make auto pay this month? Do we have to take them off and push it a little bit? All that stuff is emotional labor that you think about constantly. So if the guy does that, I have a whole post on that. Managing the money is also managing the finances is also emotional labor. So this is important stuff to think about. Is like, has your marriage swung to the other dimension where maybe the woman used to get condescended to, but now the guy gets condescended to for not doing enough, for not understanding, for his work being less important than her work, etc. And it is a very interesting topic, probably something that I'll do some more podcasts and stuff about. But and it's not like those women in those marriages are thrilled to death either. So something is wrong with the whole dynamic, because they frequently feel that they are also struggling, and they also don't feel good, and marriage isn't what they thought that it would be, and the guy doesn't really get them, and he doesn't understand, and whatever. And this is what I deal with all the time in couples counseling, is people that cannot empathize with each other. But this dynamic is one that has not really been discussed widely yet, because it's really just started with the advent of these terms like emotional labor, with the whole COVID pandemic. Guys were home more, and when they were home, they had to do equal stuff, but a lot of them were still the primary earner. So they had to organize all their conference calls and do all of this stuff around doing exactly half of the stuff at home, which doesn't make any sense, right? That can't make sense. You can't be in 2 places at once, really. Women couldn't, and men can't either. Brent says, you get it. Tips. And Jan said, I agree with you. Brent says, tips. Well, my number 1 tip is to go to couples counseling and work on it. That's what I do. That's what lots of people do, is help couples with this. Also bringing it up more directly and saying, I understand that there's a lot of emotional labor required in the Christmas decorations. I kind of don't agree that we really need this many Christmas decorations. So can we maybe we'll go to counseling, or maybe we'll just have a sit-down discussion at like what we need to do? Because to me, it seems like I do bath time every night, which has to be done, and you get to opt out and do the more fun parts of the childcare. And sometimes I'm starting to be resentful because I feel like I go to work, I come home, and I get whatever aspects of the house and the child that you don't want to deal with. And to me, that feels like